Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the
Welcome to the
episode
episode
number four
number 4
of the
of
Expire
the
Show,
Expire Show,
brought to you
brought to
by
you by
Science Center
Science Center
Singapore,
Singapore,
Singapore Institute of
Singapore Institute of
Technology, and Neo
Technology, and Neo
Aeronautics.
Aeronautics.
In the past
In the
three
past three
episodes,
episodes,
we have
we
here
have
different
here
speakers
different speakers
from
from
healthcare,
healthcare,
hard
hard
robotics,
robotics, soft
robotics,
robotics,
and today
and
we're
today we're
looking
looking
into another
into
healthcare
another
company,
healthcare company,
healthcare start
healthcare
deep tech.
start deep tech.
So
So
again, we come back
again,
to the
we come back
questions
with
of
the
what is
questions of
deep tech,
what is deep
right?
tech,
And a
right?
lot of people
And a lot
say
of people
deep
say
tech
deep
must be
tech
very,
must
very
be very,
advanced
very advanced
technology
technology
and something
and
that's
something that's
mythical. Now
mythical.
we're going to
Now
take
we're going to
away
take
that
away
myth,
that myth,
right?
right?
So whatever
So
you want to
whatever you
do
want to do
for
for
innovation, the first
innovation,
thing
the
is
first thing is
there must be a
there
problem
must
to
be a
be solved.
problem to be solved.
And from that
And from the
problems,
problems,
you need to
you need to
identify what are the
identify what are the
signs,
signs,
and then you
and then
design
you
it
design it
and to come up
and
with
to
an
come up with the
innovation.
innovation.
So the
So
problem,
the
the
problem, the
signs,
sign,
and the design.
and the design.
So that
So that
innovation is
innovation is
meant to be a
meant to be a
solution to the
solution to
problem,
the
and
problem,
then
and
value
then
add to
value
the
add
end
to the
user
end user
or the
or the
customers.
customer.
So problem
So problem
definition is very
definition is
important.
very important.
But as we
But
know,
as we
there's a
know, there's a
methodology that in the
methodology
last
that
three
in the last
episodes we
three
talked
episodes we talked
very
very
deeply about it,
deeply
which is
about it,
called the
which is
design
called the
thinking.
design thinking.
So the design
So the
thinking
design
process
thinking
has
process has
5 steps
5 steps generically
known as the
known as the
empathy,
empathy,
which is trying to
which is
understand the
trying to understand the
customers
customers
or the client
or
or
the
the
client or
user
the user
as deeply as
as deeply as
possible. Right?
possible.
Empathize, being
Empathize
in
being
the
in the
shoes of
shoes
the
of
client.
the client.
So that is
So that is
empathy,
empathy,
followed by
followed by
definitions, our
definitions,
problem
our problem
definitions, which try to
definitions, which try to
zero in and
zero
then
in
say
and then
what
say
really is the
what really is
problem
the
that you want to
problem that you
solve.
want to solve.
And then
And
we can
then we
ideate.
can
And
ideate.
ideate
And
is
ideate
where
is
you
where
use your
we use the
creativities to
creativity to
figure out what's the
figure out what's the
signs
signs
to solve
to
that
solve
problem,
that problem,
the
the
solutions,
solutions,
and then you
and then we
prototype it,
prototype it,
right? You build a
right? To
model
build a
where it can
model,
be software,
where
it
it
can
can
be
be software,
hardware,
it can
it
be
can be
hardware, it
both.
can be both.
And
And
obviously, in
obviously,
such
in such
things, there
things,
must be
there
some
must be some
research,
research,
right? So you
right? So you
prototype,
prototype,
and then you
and
test
then
it
you test it
against
against
the
the
user.
user.
And
And
yesterday, we
yesterday
had this
we had
discussion
this
about
a
what is
discussion about what is
verification
verification
and
and
validation.
validation.
So validation
So
is looking what's the
validation is
customer need,
what's the
and then
customer need, and
innovation
the
meet the
innovation
customer
meet the
needs, right?
customer
So
need,
on the
right?
broader
So on
scale,
the broader
or a
scale,
macro
or a
scale.
macro
But
scale.
then what
But then
is
what is
verification?
verification?
So the
So the
verification is
verification is
coming to the
coming
design
to the
itself.
design itself.
So from the
So
user
from the
needs, we
user needs,
derive
we
the product
derive the
specs.
product
From
spec.
the product
From the
spec, we
product
build a
spec, we build a
prototype, or
prototype,
sometimes
or
we call alpha, some people call beta. It's actually for you to test. So does the product specs and the product you come built together meet? All right? So that is verification at the product level. When you go up to the user level, the problem and the solution, that is validation. So there are 2 steps process in order to make sure that your invention at this product level become an innovation at the user level, value add to the user. Okay, so today what we're going to do is going to spend some time with Dr. Shawn Lee. And Shawn is right now based out of Shenzhen, and he's done his research in Singapore. And of course, right now, I think the market is that where he wants to start to build up his products and business. So let's beam him in from China. Okay, so I'm going to give you a brief introduction
to Shawn, and after that he will introduce himself. Okay, Shawn is a co-founder.
Literally says the founder of E3A Healthcare. Now, why E3A is a very interesting name. I'll let him talk about it. From NUS with a PhD in biomedical engineering. He published in peer-reviewed journals, and smart guy, right? Visiting scholar at the School of Medicine at the University of Melbourne, owns 3 patents families. Okay, so let's put our hand together and welcome Shawn. All right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Coming from his office in China, this is Dr. Shawn Lee. Shawn, how are you?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm good. Thanks, Prof.
Okay, good. All right.
Thanks
So maybe you take about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how much time you want to use on what you're doing and what is E3A Healthcare all about.
Okay, I couldn't hear you clearly. Say so, a self-introduction or about the company?
Yeah. Spend some time talking about yourself and your company and what's the science and the technology that you are using right now.
Okay, sure. Yes, that's how and where the company names came from. So the E3A was the department building of biomedical engineering in NUS, and that's where me and my co-founder Dita and the research. So where we studied, and Dita was a professor and also a PhD supervisor during that period of time. And then we started the company. We couldn't find a suitable name so for the company. And then when we look back, so we saw the name of the building, the E3A. So then we saw that's a good name. So E3A Healthcare, and then that's how we started the journey. So we incorporated the company in campus. And then so we got support, funding, investment from NUS first within campus, and then so we went out to look for more funding. That's how the journey started. And so we're focusing, the entire focus of the company is on healthcare, especially for mothers and babies. So that's where we started. So we talked to doctors and nurses in NUH in hospital. So we realized some gaps between the customers and the market. So there's unmet need. So in this sector, and then how we jump into this area, and then we devote our energy and time, so the entire team, so into this area to develop our products.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the EA healthcare actually comes into picture is because it's a block, it's an engineering block that you're working in.
Yes.
Okay. So that's interesting. That's very unusual because normally people will use the company names to reflect their products, right? So you use it to reflect the building.
Correct.
All right.
And when we get the name, so because Dita and I we do both sailing. So and then we saw the docking number of the boat. It's also E3A. So then we saw that's a good sign of the name.
Yeah. Everything is a coincidence.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe talk about your STEM education, right? So why do you study engineering or sciences, and what's your specific interest when you're studying, or you just stumble into it?
Could you repeat, Prof? I couldn't. So there's some.
I'm saying that you study engineering, right? So can you tell about why you study science or engineering? Why not other things? Or maybe you just stumble into engineering or science?
Oh yeah.
Sciences?
So why I went into engineering, right?
Yes.
So my background was actually biochemistry, pure science, pure biology. So when I was undergrad, I spent 2 years in the lab doing microbiology experiments, extracting proteins, DNA, and all these things. And the more I do the experiment, the more I think I need to do something I can see it, I can quickly translate into real use in the world. That's engineering. If I do science, that's something I don't have that much interest into science and learn. So doing the PhD, so I chose another direction, that's engineering, biomedical engineering. So which could utilize the science, the basic science in bio and biochemistry, so into a medical world and learn. So with engineering methods and tools, all this, we combine all this together. So we could utilize all the things we make into useful products, and we put into the real world, and then we get real use for the customers. We generate real benefits and use case. So that's how I jumped into engineering, and then I chose biomedical engineering, and I happened to meet Dita. So that's the entire process. And then so Dita and I, so Dita brought me to another level, not only engineering, but also the commercial side, how to do business, how to be an entrepreneur, do a startup.
How to commercialize and how to become an entrepreneur and do a new venture. So, but before we go all the way to there, let's talk about, you know, if you want to create a deep tech innovation, you got to find a problem, right? So actually, how is this problem defined, right? How do you know that this problem exists?
The first product we are developing, so we have developed in past 1.5 years was on neonatal jaundice on baby, and how we define this problem was so when we look at this area, so we talk to doctors. So Roy Joseph, he's our clinical advisor, partner on this journey. So how basically, so I attended one of the programs called LLP, the Lean Launchpad in NUS. So when we define something, so we first visit our customers or end users. So how I have done this, I just knock the door of the doctors in NUH one by one until someone really willing to talk, because they are just helping a student project. So then we talk to many doctors and nurses. Then we define where is the problem. So the problem statement is we don't call the problem statement. The problem, the gap will always come from the users, and then that's how we define this. It's not based on our imagination and our expertise. That's how we define it. We found our this use case, this problem, just in NUH.
But yeah, so when you talk about the problem come from the interview to the hospital or the hospitals, but when you do your research, right, and you do your research on the science, is the problem defined first, or you do your research first?
How are they interlinked?
It's parallelly. So when you find a problem, so within hospitals or among the doctors and nurses, so then you need to cross-verify it. So whether it is only something within one hospital, one certain situation, or it's universally, or it exists everywhere. So then you do your research. So you call your friends on other hospitals or any other customers to cross-verify it, and then so you get back to the hospital, you continue the interview. And when others you find a match, then you will know, okay, so that's somewhere you should go. That's the right direction.
Okay, so let's talk about your research, right? So it's part of your PhD. You spent 3 years on it or 5 years on it?
Yes, I spent 4 years on my PhD while in US.
Okay, so
this research, right, and the problem, right? How do you sort of work on the research and then link the problem in a? How do you actually maybe just tell in different phases you go through your PhD research in order to discover the science and also the applications?
You mean doing my PhD? So how do I balance my research and this?
How do you
say, okay, I have this problem to solve, and my research is supposed to come out with the science for this problem, right? How are they intricately linked? How many phases that you go through, major phases that you go through?
Oh, you mean the different phases of my PhD and this company? So when I first joined the lab, joined NUS, and I basically I was working together with my PhD supervisor on one of the applications on spectrometry. So my entire PhD was on spectrometry as well. So we developed new spectrometers, different kind, something very innovative in a way. So we make big spectrometers into small ones, into handhelds. And then this is my PhD research. The first 2 years was entirely on research, and then on the third year, so many other matters just came. So I start handling company stuff. So in my something so in my PhD supervisor's company. So product development, injection molding, and the mass production on all these things, project software, hardware. So which back in industry and others. So I gained the experience on handling how a product development and what's the difference between research and product development. And at the third and fourth year, so then I decided to do something on my own. So something new, a new company. And that's where I started to learn all about the business, some courses in business school in US. So I started to know what is business model and all these things. This is actually the third phase, I would say, from research to product development and then the business side. And after all this, I finished my PhD and then I started this company.
Okay, so that's good. So, so would you be able to? Sorry, I think there's an echo here. So, will you be able to sort of tell us the difference between, let's say, your different range of product, how it works? Do you have a PowerPoint or slides on that you can show us?
You probably accidentally muted yourself.
Shawn, you can hear me? Okay. So maybe I will see whether I can use something different. All right. So, so what I want to, can you show the different range of the products, either using PowerPoint and how it works, and technology behind it?
Audio. There's no audio. It's muted again. Okay, maybe in the meanwhile, I can show some of my our company products to the audience. I believe they can still see it. But Prof, I can't hear you. I can't hear you now. So, okay, there's sound now. Okay, I can hear you.
Turn on my mic. Okay, Shawn.
Yes.
Yeah, Shawn.
Yes. Okay, so I'll just quickly go through the some of the products in the company. If you could see the PDF. So basically, E3A, so we developed in the campus, and we had this idea. So when back in 2017 and 18, so while it was purely research in the lab, and in 2018 and 19, so we started to start thinking of commercializing it, to turn it from lab bench to the market. And we started on basically you need to have something like you're really good at, let's say technology. Once you have technology, so basically for us is spectrometry and the wearable technologies. So we utilize this, we tap on these resources and the experience know-how we have. So we looked for applications. in healthcare. So we define an area, direction that's in healthcare. And then we found out, we determined, so the healthcare, then if healthcare, yes, then we go to mothers and babies. That's where we believe that's the future and the most, where the most we can have our own impact on. And so basically what we do is we do them from pre-pregnancy to post-pregnancy, from the first, basically for the first 1,000 days. So we'll have our impact on. So before the pregnancy, for basically a preparation from the LH, HCG monitoring for pre-pregnancy, and also for fertility tests at home. And we also do the ultrasound, fetal ultrasound AI, and our home care jaundice meter. So basically, we brought the cost from a few $1,000 to $1,200 US. So basically, we bring the cost dramatically down. So all the babies at home, so they can have this care affordably at home. And we also do a software platform. So basically, we connect all the doctors and nurses and also the home together. So basically, it is about the anxiety. So when you take care of baby at home, so basically you want to take out the anxiety, not only just having some data, some devices. So this is the entire cycle. So we are doing, so from parents, when they have an idea they want to have a baby, till the baby is delivered, and they take care of baby at home. So this is brief introduction of what we do and other products. Maybe Prof, you can continue the questions you just now you wanted to ask.
Yeah, I'm just asking, for example, the science behind it. Yeah, is there?
But really, the science that your research and the product, right? You done research on spectrography, and the interesting things is that I believe that the problems is that when you are looking at jaundice, right? How you treat jaundice currently, and why your technique is much better. Is it because it's non-invasive, so that or you maybe, do you need to draw bloods from the baby currently and use your technique? Does it need to? So let's see where's the unique differences and advantages.
The unique part is you could just imagine, for example, right now because jaundice for Asian babies, Asian population, Chinese, Indian, and so basically most of the baby, our baby will become yellow. It's just about the 90% of them they are physiological jaundice, and then the 10%, so they're severe jaundice cases. However, monitoring them, that's every single baby need to be monitored, and then there is a need for home care. So currently, all the devices, so they are around $5,000 for Minota. So that is something you can only access it at hospital, clinic and GP. So that's where you can get the care. But however, this thing could be as cheap as a thermometer. So that's what we're doing. So we are bringing down a 2B device, and we make it to C. We make it to home care. So we're able to bring the cost of a few $1,000 devices to $100 and $200, so which could be affordable at home. So they could do care at home.
Yeah. So okay. But then when you bring let's say a baby at home and use a machine, right? So yes, it's affordable, but does people need to be trained to use the machine, and how do they know that actually the baby is in good condition or the baby is having some problem? How they decide when to do something?
Like a digital thermometer, so the how to use it and how you make a decision, so it is exactly same, the flow and procedure exactly same as a thermometer. So you take a temperature, for example, if it's above 38 degrees Celsius, you probably need to go back to hospital. You probably need to take some medication. If it's below 36 or 37, that's normal. So basically same for jaundice. You just need something to tell you a value, and then according to this value, you make a decision, you make an act but it's not purely. So it's like baby, and when you're baby, you don't really just touch it and feel it, how hot it is, and then you make a decision. Same for jaundice. You shouldn't and you can't just look at it and tell, oh, when it's yellow, I bring it back to the hospital. But how yellow is yellow? Just like what's the temperature? So it's the same.
Okay.
So how can you talk about the science of the detection, which is the important part, which is non-invasive, right? Currently, we need to draw blood from the baby, so it's probably a very painful process. Although the baby probably won't understand, right? When the baby will cry, but for the parents, it's very devastating. How does your technology specifically do that now? That allows that to check the condition of the baby without drawing blood.
So from the science perspective, so every compound in blood has its own absorption in certain wavelengths. And the bilirubin has it too, and that's around 450 nanometers. So basically, we send the light into the skin, and then certain light will be absorbed by bilirubin. And the more bilirubin your blood has, that means there will be more penetrate to your skin and then stabilize on your skin. It will absorb more signal. And then, so the light sent to the skin and it comes back, and then we calculate the difference, how much is absorbed. And then, so we make a correlation map. So between this blood bilirubin and the signal, so the digital signal, so we receive from the device. So this is how, if we really make it simple, it's like this. But of course, in the device, there are many other mechanisms, how we do the compensation, how we do the calibration. So these are all the ways to make the results closer to the blood test.
Oh, I see.
So it's like at the SpO2 monitor, right, where we measure the oxygen level in the blood, right, oxygen concentration. We shine the light into the fingernails, and we, of course, you see the blood vessels, and then we through the reflected ray, right, light, and then we can sort of understand whether what is or get the data. And so your science is that your light wave is very specific for this purpose, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the whole research is all about.
Good. So this is a translation of research into a product that can be used. So you built this and you got to test it, right? Before I say, so you got to test. Can you tell us the testing process? How do you test? Do you test on humans straight away, or do you test on animals? What's the process like, and to get eventually the product certified?
For getting certified, so you definitely need human data. And before you conduct human data, you need to certify the safety of the product. Basically, we call IRB, and so in Singapore, it's IRB and clinical board to get it approved. So before you test any device on human, especially on babies. So first, you need to get your IEC pass, safety, electric safety, and radiology, all this. And then, so when the device is safe, you test on some samples, solutions, and all this, and then you can go to animal phase. So if some application doesn't require animals, so you can go straight to babies. But for us, we have done experiments on animals, and so right now we are doing tests on babies.
Okay, so so your product is already certified?
Yes.
Okay, so
yeah.
So which is a regulatory process in China, and we are parallelly launching our CE and FDA process. So probably we're gonna start it soon from the third quarter of this year.
Okay,
so tell us, because it's very confusing for people who are not in this area, right? Medical device, when we talk about CE, FDA, or maybe China, I'm not sure what kind of scheme they work on. Can you talk about really different countries. What requirements are they identical, and how do you, start off, cater to one country, and then expand to the rest? What's the strategy behind it?
Different countries or jurisdictions, they have their own regulatory process. The most common or the most famous field will be FDA and CE. So this is something I believe everybody has heard about it. So no matter what kind of products you buy, so they might claim a CE approved or FDA approved. So CE and FDA, they are the largest two regulatory bodies. So most frequently used, because this is basically this is where it started in the US and Europe. So they have learned their own regulatory. And right now, so each country is like having their own regulatory agencies. For example, in Singapore, we also have our own, we call HSA, we call Health and Science Authority. So basically, every single product wants to sell in Singapore, as long as it is a drug or it's a medical device, it has to pass the regulatory of Singapore, and then it can legally sell in Singapore. For example, any medication you are buying right now, so you must approve by HSA. So although, for example, Panadol in the US, it has their own FDA approval. But when they want to sell in Singapore, it has to get the similar things in locally, and then they can sell. So this is the about regulation.
Mm-hmm.
Is in China, India, and Africa. So the first part we start is in China. That's also about marketing. So where you want to sell your product first, and then you do the registration there. And for us, we did our registration in China first.
So
Come out with innovation and the product to choose the market is very important, right? Because this is where your company can grow and your products and sales a lot. So how big is the China market? I mean, US is also a big market. You say India is a big market. How do you make that decision? Is it purely on the numbers, how big the market size?
Market size is one thing. So you need to look at how the cost of entering the market and how familiar you're with the market. So for us, definitely for Asia is easy and comfortable with us. If we go to US, language is one problem, culture. So language for us is not a problem. So we speak the same language, but the culture and how you enter the market, that's a different thing. So if you know the culture, you're comfortable with one place, so it'll be faster for you to recruit people, the team, and then so how you do the expansion. So of course, this is one thing, and then the cost. Because for startups like the company like us, the most important resources is cash. So how you spend the cash and how you maintain the runway of the company. So you need to combine all these factors together. So you need to choose the most comfortable place and where you can launch a product, and then you could generate revenue in the fastest way. So that will be where you choose the market. So that's how we chose China as our first market.
Okay. So you talk about the challenges of cash, right? So normally a deep tech venture probably need quite a bit of cash, because you need to do a lot of research, build a lot of stuff, and then do testing, right? So how does people or you go about raising cash or having enough cash to run your operation?
The first will be the best will be the free cash from the government funding agency and all these programs. So this will be this branch doesn't take any share things. So you can, this is how we started first in campus. So basically we're getting grants from NUS, from the government, MOE, and then to launch the project, and then we started the company. And then so we will go to VCs, so the venture capitals, the angel fund, so where they will take risk to put money into small companies, and then so grow together with the company. So these are, we call it two two different kinds of money you'll get from the to your startups. So we tried both, and we get both cash into to a company, different kinds. So government funds might be a little bit slow, but it will take time. But so if the product is good and you are generating positive impact of society, you will get it. But the only drawback is it takes time and energy to get the money, because the government is not looking for cash return. So then you have to generate something more than cash return to the society. And then for the venture fund, so it's another painful process, because they want something purely cash return, because they are playing capital, so you have to generate more for them in the future. So you have to talk to many investors to sell your idea, to sell part of your dream to them, and then they buy the dream, and then so it's like a deal. So basically, it's like a marketing process. You get sales. A CEO is like a salesperson. You're not selling your product, but you're selling part of your company, part of your dream to someone else, and then they believe it. They buy the deal. They say the price. Okay, your dream is good. The dream was 1 million, 10 million, and then 100 million. I'll spend 1 million. I buy one part of it, and that'll be part of your dream, part of your vision, and then we go together. So this is about fundraising. All the startups will definitely go through this process.
Okay, so the interesting things is that you have to do fundraising, and you've got to do salesman. You say you're a chief salesman. So how actually do you transition from a PhD, a science guy? How do you actually transition to become a CEO of a venture startup? Where are the challenges here? How do you equip yourself?
Well, for C, because my background is engineering, so because I'm a technical guy, and how a transition from a technical guy to a business is always easy. You can learn, and especially when you study many years, you could adapt things fast. And also it's because of the limitation of resources. For startups, you don't have many people, and you can't have one person in a role. So it's usually like one person, you have to fit into many roles, you have to do many things. And usually for me it was, I got no choice. If I started a company, I have to be the CEO of the company. I have to do the fundraising for it. So the entire process is full of difficulties and mistakes and all the way. And it's like you learn the MBA in the real world, not through the classes, and just step by step. Because at that time you don't have a choice. If I manage to find someone, if I manage to find another co-founder, so who is a better CEO, I would definitely give that position to him, and then I'll be the CTO to better utilize my own expertise in technology and the product. But at that time, so I have to do both, and then so that's how I, from a technical side to be the commercial side.
Okay.
The question now is that I think it's small and you're to do a transition. So what's the current 3 most important challenges for you to move forward? And what's your dream? How big do you want to build your company? To what size? How do you define size or success of your company?
The success of the company definitely will be so our vision. Our vision should develop the largest platform for mothers and newborn. We take care every single stage. So when they have a baby until they deliver, until the baby coming to the world. So this is our entire vision. So the size. So right now we have a team of more than 10 person full time in the company. So the success of the company shouldn't be how large we become. We have 30, 50 person. So this shouldn't be a gauge how successful the company should be. What's the value you have? What's the output value to the world, to the society? This should be how we can assess whether we are successful or not. But out there on the market, so we generate value, so we give the positive social impact, we give the better customer experience. This is something we could say whether we're successful or not.
Okay.
I think right now in China you have this encouragement of basically there's the issue of aging, right? Because of the population policy. Right now the government is encouraging, especially in the cities, for people to have more babies. So is it going to be a booming market for you, and it's very easy for you to sell?
We hope yes, because marketing is not our. We are still trying. We're still exploring on the marketing and sales. This is something I couldn't really be sure, but definitely to show the direction. So the China market for babies, for the entire, we call it the economy of mothers. So that one is definitely gonna be booming. Yes.
Yeah. So
If it's a booming and you are the ship, it's like when the tide rises, you are the ship until you also rise at the same time, right? So what do you think? How big would a company be in terms of revenue? Let's say, I mean, just projection.
Well, humbly, we still foresee we're gonna expand the team maybe to around 20, and we're gonna have, so as long as we can cover 5 to 10%, let's say 5% of the entire market. So we're gonna have 100 million, 200 million revenues in the coming.
okay. So
One thing that is in the what do you call it, in the current world, we use a lots of data, right? So so the business model of is no more of selling a machine and forget about you, but selling the machine, but also keeping contact with you, knowing who you are, where you are, how are you doing, and maybe provide better services. So how do you actually do that?
So right now, what we're doing is not a to-B business. We're doing to end user, to customers. So all the devices we're aiming at $100, $200. So we have our own app, our apps. Because in China we do WeChat. We don't use Facebook and things, because WeChat is more powerful in terms of maintaining the customer relationship, how you manage your own customers to make it so your own circle. So it's not like app. That's different. We call it in China. So it's more popular. We call 私域流量和公域流量。So these are different terms. So how you can so all this we call it in the app. So it's now your real customer. So as only when they are in your own circles, your own communities. So they are your customer, they are your members. So every big pharma and big companies, corporations, they're all doing this. They have their own membership program. Even Starbucks, they are encouraging you to order coffee not through the content, but through your own it's not just app, it's one of the programs because mini programs in WeChat. So they want to control, they want to very precisely to contact their own customers through WeChat. And that's how we are going to do this as well. So to manage our own customers' portfolios by ourselves.
Okay, that's good. So maybe we can go to some questions that are sent in by the listeners. And first question is that if there are any side effects arising from using your product, I mean you are shining light, right?
This, yeah.
No.
On the babies?
No, there's no side effect.
Okay. So the thing is that
the trial, right, to make sure that the baby doesn't suffer from any side effects.
Right. So we have done trials, and so this thing, because it's non-invasive, so this is class 2 device, so it is relatively safe, and we could say there's no side effect.
Okay, right. So maybe we can go on to the next question. All right, so yeah, so
develop the business intuition from a scientist or entrepreneur. Oh, you've been through
it for a couple of years. The intuition is not just the knowledge. Yeah.
Again, sorry, what's the question? So what's the intuition of?
How do you develop the business intuition that was required for you to transit from scientist to entrepreneur?
Okay, so I would say it's very important to have a good boss. So when you started your career,
I thought you are the entrepreneur, you are the boss, right? So what do you mean by having a good boss?
Having a good boss before you started the company. So
okay.
my boss was Dita. So so previous
your PhD supervisor.
Yes, so we call PhD supervisor. We also call boss. Okay, you need to have a good supervisor. You need to have a good supervisor, good mentor on the way to guide you in this process. So if you really met someone can inspire you, can give you a totally different mindset. That's important. It's open and can give you free. Can give you the room for your own to develop. It's not someone only let you do things within your own scope. So for me, is I develop all this business intuitions and how to do business about entrepreneurship. It's also data, also my PhD supervisor. He started many companies before, and he gave me many freedoms to do whatever I want to explore in the in this area where I want to commercialize something on my own. Yeah, you need to be lucky first. You need to be lucky to meet someone really give you the right direction.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So maybe just one more question. Do we have any more questions from the floor? Okay. Are you planning to roll out your product worldwide? Maybe you are focusing on China, and China is a big market. And do you see yourself spending a lot more time in China and then neglect the other market?
Oh no, I came back when the outbreak of COVID, because at that point I knew, so if I continue in Singapore, so there's nothing much I can do. So especially we are a hardware company, the entire supply chain, so will be seized. The only place so we can continue developing without any suspension, without any slowdown in China. So China is the only place in the world. So the entire manufacturing supply chain is 24 hours non-stop. Whatever you do here, all the PCB design and the manufacturing, so the speed is as fast as before. And after the COVID, so because our company is still in Singapore, so we're going to go back to Singapore. So right now we are going through the CE process and FDA. After we get in it, and then we can launch other products in the other countries and areas.
Okay, so you're staying put in China because the whole ecosystems uh, uh, is very intact internally, so that the market itself is like what you call it's not a circular economy, right? Everything runs well, but the rest of the world are still like supply chains are disrupted and all this market are disrupted. Okay, so maybe going forward, what will be the three big challenges that you're going to face going forward for the next 2 to 5 years?
Okay, you mean three challenges?
Yeah, three challenges.
Okay, the biggest one will be also will be always the people. So right now, so we'll keep recruiting people, the right people and the talents who could make the entire picture larger, because you cannot just rely on yourself. How much you do, you only have 24 hours a day, just like any other person. So the founder has to be keep looking for people to join the team. So that's what I'm continuously doing. And the second one is the cash. So without cash, you can't do either you generate enough revenue, enough cash flow, or you will keep have investment coming in to help you to bring this, to draw this picture larger and to pay all these people to maintain the team. And then the third one is the market, which is also important. So we couldn't say which one is more important. So all these challenges are equally all these challenges are equally difficult. So the market, how you reach a customer and how you really bring benefits, better user experience to them. So these are, I would say, the three challenges I'm facing right now, and I will face in the future all the time. Is the cash, people, and good products. How I reach them. How I bring my customer real value.
Okay, cash, talent, and product, quality product, and that's what Steve Jobs always say, right? You are here to deliver the best product or the best customer experience.
Right.
Okay, so so for people who want to scientists or people who are engineers who start studying and want to go and set up a deep tech venture, what would be your advice to them?
Oh, this is really a big question. So for scientists and engineers want to do their business, what would be my advice? My advice. So this question is in general, but for me, you need to find a good partner. You need to find a good partner to start, and be sure that is something you really want deep inside in your mind. Otherwise, don't, because the entire process is extremely painful and difficult. Just don't do it for any fame or any something not real. You really have this desire and do it. Because there are many other things better than entrepreneurship you could pursue. So a good family, a stable life, a nice job, and good work balance. Because once you do it, there are 90% or more than 90% chances you will fail. So this is very so this is my suggestion.
Okay.
So to make sure you really do it.
All right, thank you very much. I think we comes to the end of your session with you, and I am also going to tell the audience what is coming up. We have this series. We have 4 speakers over this week, and we have concluded all the 4 speakers. But going forward, it is getting very much exciting, because we will come back in July, and for the 1st of July, we're going to start with space exploration with NASA astronaut Jeff Williams. So I think that will be exciting, and I will encourage everybody to sign up now. And all these interviews and videos are available on our Facebook, on YouTube. Go and view it. And if you have any questions or feedback, just give us comments, and we will invite more speakers and give you a different perspective from different industry, whether it's medical technology, vertical indoor farming, what they call agri-tech, and fintech, and smart cities. So there are a lot of things that we can bring to you to make the world a better place, and of course to change your interest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Okay, we'll see you then. Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Thank you.